Hi there, and thanks for tuning into this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor newsletter. It's been a busy week. We've been compiling all the results from our 2021 Trip Inspiration Survey, and I'm pleased that so many members have taken the time to consider all of the programs we're thinking about offering in 2021. Some of them are actually well along their way in development. So if you haven't had a chance yet to complete that questionnaire, you'll find a link just below in the blog, and do take the time to do it because it really enables us to prioritize the kind of trips that our members want to go to. We've got some exciting ones in there. As I mentioned last week, island hopping in Greece and cruising through the islands of around Sicily and Malta, as well as Portugal, are some of the ones that are proving to be the most popular, and so we're going to have those programs out sooner than you know it. But I also wanted to take a few moments to once again review some of our member questions. When you, as you know, when you first join, you fill in our overall member questionnaire, and it gives us a chance to give a sense of who you are, and also to ask questions about what Wheel and Anchor is all about. So I want to take a few moments to do that. First of all, I had Gwen from Lethbridge, Alberta, who asked whether we pair people up. Yes, in fact, we do, but our program, our companion matching program, is a little bit different than with other travel companies, in that we have our Companions for the Road program, and that the idea behind that is that rather than just being thrown into a room with someone who you have no idea who it is and whether or not you'll get along, we have a very simple survey which we have you fill in that identifies some of your sort of travel habits, and by exchanging that on an anonymous basis with other members who are seeking a companion, you can find out whether or not you're likely to be compatible with one another. So it's we have well over 100 members in that program. It's been a great success, and we've already had a number of pair matches for some of our upcoming trips. So you'll also find a link to Companions for the Road in the link below. Barbara from Winnipeg asked, are your groups both men and women, and what is the average age? Yeah, absolutely. So at the moment, I would say about three-quarters of our groups are two people that are either couples or they travel together regularly. That forms the majority of our membership, but we have a fast-growing component of solo travelers, particularly women. There's a handful of guys in there as well. So what you'll find is a mix of people, couples, solo travelers, either men or women. And as far as the ages are concerned, we have people from in their 50s into their 80s. Depending on the type of program, if it's sort of more of a when I say conventional, our trips are not conventional at all, but if it's the type of program where we're going to see the sights of a particular country, we might get a slightly older demographic. If it's a more active type program, we might get a slightly younger age group going on those trips. But it's really all over the map, and again, the common thread that binds us all together is the fact that we're all travelers. Mercy from Laval, Quebec asked, how long have you been in business? Well, Mercy, it's a good question. Wheel and Anchor as an organization is just barely 2 years old, but it comes on the heels of my almost 30 years in the travel industry, not to mention all the combined experience of the other members of our team. So I've worked in various capacities with travel companies, including my own for most of the last 20 years. And so we cumulatively, we have a lot of experience to bring to fruition, and not just experience within our team, but we rely on our partners from all around the world who equally have been doing this for a long time. So we don't do anything on a fresh off basis. We're all quite experienced in travel. And then Rose from Toronto asked about a list of places that Wheel and Anchor has traveled to. And again, similar to the last question, I think there's two answers to that. First of all, Wheel and Anchor, we've just because we just started a couple of years ago, we've run a number of trips so far. We've done a women's wellness program in Austria last year. We've been traveling through Japan and South Korea last spring, as well as Croatia and the Adriatic coast. We've been to the Caucasus, Georgia, and Armenia. And we've had a yoga program here in Thailand. As well as a couple other trips. So our roster is quickly improving, and we will have visited a lot more countries certainly by this time next year as a group. And personally, I've traveled to 86 countries at last count, some of them numerous times. So my own personal experience in terms of where we've been and how to travel through countries on all of the continents is something that I bring to bear here inside of Wheel and Anchor. And Dorothy from Kincardine, Ontario asked, are your trips and cruises small in numbers? Well, yeah, actually, Dorothy, that's one of the most common questions we get is how big are our groups? And I think a lot of people prefer to travel in smaller groups, and certainly that's my preference as well. It largely depends on the type of trip that we're operating. If we're doing an overland program, I generally like to have groups that are sort of 15 to 20 people in size. I think that's the right number to make it cost effective, but at the same time, for there to be an intimate environment with the other members as well as with your local guide. Sometimes, however, on where we have cruises, our group sizes can be a little bit bigger. For example, we're heading off to Egypt, Israel, and Jordan in about a month's time, and we have 35 people with us. But we're on a larger cruise ship on the Nile, and for the rest of the program and for a lot of the sightseeing that we're doing while on shore, we have two groups. So we have two guides, and in fact, we have two hosts coming with us. So we are a bigger group, but we are two in one. So the most important thing when it comes to the size of groups is what you're doing when you're actually out traveling around, right? You don't want to be part of that 40-person tour group that we've all seen with umbrellas and name tags and all the rest of that kind of stuff. We're a little bit different. We want to be the travelers who don't appear as travelers by traveling in those smaller groups. So that's a few of the member questions. Please do keep them coming in because, again, it's important for us to understand what your thoughts and concerns and questions are about how we operate, and equally, we would like you to know what it is that's behind our philosophy. So I'll catch up to you again next week, where I'll be in yet another different venue, and I'll let you in on that then. And in the meantime, signing off from here in sunny Thailand, I wish you, as always, happy travels.